Okay, y'all. So, whew, I just have to, I just have to breathe because it's so much that I am here to deliver to you all. Um, my sisters, if well, let me just say what it is. What is happening on an energetic level, and so that's why it feels so huge, is that we are currently in what is called a 9-year cycle, and we are in the 9th year of the cycle. So, and when you do and doing numbers, because we do numbers and doing numbers, right? The single digits from beginning, because I do consider zero not to be a placeholder. But 0 is the birthing point, right? And then 0 births itself into 1, right? Y'all hear Oreo outside the door. Child, he's just so extra. I'm coming, poops. So 0 births itself into manifestation. So the 0 is the unmanifested. It's the egg, right? It's the womb. It's that unmanifested reality. And then you birth yourself into the 1, and then you connect with others, and you know what I mean? So this is just the creation. This is just creation. And if you look at 0 or even 1 as the alpha, right, then you would look at 9, I guess, from a religious standpoint, as the omega, the beginning and the end. But what we know is there really is no beginning and there really is no end. It just is, right? And so follow me here, because it seems like a lot, but it's very simple. But it's because it's so simple, that's in part what makes it seem so fucking complex. So there are people who know how the world operates. They're magicians, and shout out to all the magicians out there. Shout out to all the witches, to all my sisters out there. Listen, all these magical ass, spiritual ass beings out here. Because one of the things that I've seen is that we have somehow forgotten that it is all spiritual warfare. Even though it manifests itself in the physical realm, you understand that it begins in the spiritual plane. And by the spiritual plane, we're talking the unseen realms. And we're talking about your mind. You understand? This is why it's necessary, if you want to control the world, you control the mental, you govern the ment, right? You govern the mind and the money, the mint, right? You govern the mint so that you can then control the world. Because all life is birthed through a womb. This is why it is necessary to control the minds of the creators, right? The actual creators and birthers of reality, the birthers of worlds, women, specifically Black women. So-called Black women, melanated, however you want to identify on this day, right? That's why it's so important, because all life came from you, right? So if you can get the original creators, for real, those who really are walking gods and goddesses on this earth, to believe that something or someone outside of them is more powerful than them, and they are thereby subjugated and oppressed by that entity, then it is what it is. Because once you accept that as your own state of being, or as your own state of mind, and you begin to walk that out, that becomes the reality. You understand? So right now, because we are at the end of the cycle. We are at the end. We are at a 9-year, right? And today is, I'm making this video on October 31st, which many celebrate as Halloween, of course, right? All Hallows Eve, okay? So, and I'm not going to delve into that because I'm not going to even pretend I know all of the history of all of that, right? But what I am going to say is this. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. Okay? One of the themes that I have noticed is right now there is an attempt to destabilize Black women in particular. You understand? So this is coming for your money, right? Coming for your stability, right? Because y'all have seen I've made posts about the situation that's happening, that has happened, because I've already spoken what I've spoken into existence. But the situation, the attack on my finances, on my house, on my stability. Because if you don't feel safe in your own home, this is what domestic violence, all of this stuff, right? Because if you can't feel safe in your own home, how can you feel safe in your own home? Your body is your home. You understand? So if you actually want to globally take over all things, you start with the women. Because then the women are going to raise the children with the whatever mindset they have. You understand? So, and it was 6:09 on the clock as I said that, because 69 is very, very important. Not only is 69 the actual symbol of the zodiac sign of Cancer, which is about the mother and the home and all of those things, but in 1969, there was some significant legislation that was passed that also sought to destabilize the home, destabilize the family, that had to do with Section 8 and whatever the man in the house policy rule they had, right? Understand what is happening, right? Putting a man on the moon, so to speak. That is code for, like, if the moon represents the feminine, right? And if the sun represents the masculine energy, if that's how we're looking at it, then to say I put a man on the moon, right, is basically the way of saying I fucked your bitch, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So look at the symbolism of all of these things that are happening. And please understand, whether you believe in astrology, ancestors, whether you believe in any of these things, I know you see it. I know you see it. You use whatever language is going to help it to resonate with you. But I'm just telling you, I'm looking at the patterns and what is happening, right? I see what is happening, and you do too, right? Do not let your previous beliefs of whatever, I heard someone say, shout out to Ralph Smart, because he was the first person I heard say this, BS belief systems, right? Don't let that BS get in the way of what you actually see. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't let, the past judgments and religion, don't let any of that shit, right, get in the way of what you are actually seeing. What is also happening, right? The 9 is also the number of that represents the divine feminine coming into being, coming into her own state of awareness. So this is why you see a lot of women that are waking up. We got the call because it is happening on a cellular level. You understand? So what is happening is our ancestors that live in our DNA, right? The more that we heal, we are waking up our ancestors. So make sure that as you are doing your work and as you're doing your heal, first of all, that you're really addressing the roots of those things that have kept you and your family cycling and spiraling for generations. And for some of us, it is about reclaiming your power and walking in this knowing that I am speaking of, reclaiming the Godhead of yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because this is how these people play in your face, right? You see what I'm saying? They make you, no, not they. It is time to decolonize yourselves, govern your mental, know that your revenue is internal, and sit on your throne. Take back your throne, take back your power, and it's going to happen from within, because as within, so without, right? Rest. Rest is revolutionary, right? One of my friends said to me years ago, and I didn't fully understand it then, but I do now. He said to me, the most dangerous place to exist is inside the mind of a Black woman. And I understand that now. And so if you have beings that want to be on your mind all the time, baby, you get to determine the place they hold in your mind. So if you need any tools, any tips, any advice, you can go to my website at www.consciouscreations.live, where I started Conscious Creations in 2020 after I got the call, right? And I started making, teas and all sorts of tools to help you on your spiritual journey to this level of awakening and further awakening for you. So on the site, I actually do have cellular decolonization tea, and it is made with burdock root, golden seal root, and goldenrod. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, that's okay too, because I am actually hosting a 3-day, and when I say 3 days, it's not actually 3 full days, y'all. It's going to be on November 11th, 12th, and 13th from 7 to 9 p.m., right? Or if we finish early, we finish early. But the goal is to walk through each one of these herbs and to really teach you about the physical, spiritual, and metaphysical principles of each one of these herbs so that you can understand, right, why you can really develop a relationship with these herbs. Because maybe it's a better way to describe it as plant medicine. The reason I say that is because plants, as we know, are alive. They are alive, right? They actually speak to your cells because they have a very similar cellular structure to your blood, right? That's what they actually give oxygen to your blood. You understand? So when you connect with these plants and you really understand what is happening, it's actually happening. You get what I'm saying? You connect with it on a deeper cellular level. So if you're interested, you can go to www.thetishahillman.com, click on the link that says Take Affirmative Action, and select the course so basically what it is, it's called the Golden Axis. And this is where we're talking about the golden axis with these golden herbs, because when you brew the tea, it's a golden color. And that is really going to work with the solar plexus of your body. And the solar plexus is the seat of your willpower. It's like your internal sun. So when I say raise your sun, that's what I mean. Like raise your internal sun. Because if someone can take the sun out of your sky, you understand? That creates vitamin D deficiencies, right? Because there's no sun in your sky to get the vitamin D. You understand? They take the life force from you on an energetic level by taking your willpower, or otherwise having you cede your willpower to something else in order to govern your mental and govern your money, right? Thereby making it so that you are left with whatever energy you have left, meaning money, physical energy, whatever you have left, you figure out your shit. We're going to take this. You figure out whatever you're going to do with the rest of that. That's not how any of this is. That's not how any of this is supposed to be, right? And so we're stepping back into that awareness, into that knowing. And so, and I say to all of those who are impacted by all of these things that are happening on a governmental level, please know. I know that telling you to grow plants and trees and all this stuff right now is not going to feed you today. But what I can tell you is this. I would encourage you to really take some time and just 5 minutes a day if you got it, right? Well, and I know you do. We all got 5 minutes a day sitting in stillness and really, really tuning into your soul, right? Because your soul is here to guide you. Your soul has always been with you, right? But there are literally beings who want to take your motherfucking soul, which is the sun, soul, S-O-L. They want to take your motherfucking soul. You hear what I'm saying? Sit with yourself. Sit with your soul. And know that all of the answers will come to you because it all revolves around the sun, the soul. You understand? Don't let these motherfuckers break your soul, baby. Don't let these motherfuckers break your soul. You got this. If you need anything, you know where to find me. And listen, I'm so excited, and I'm just grateful to be able to share this information with y'all, because I know a lot of people out there dealing with some heavy shit, right? And if y'all have seen my posts, I'm dealing with my own, stuff. But this is where coming together, right? Again, as women, as sisters, as tribe, as family. And I don't mean on some, so the reason I keep doing this, y'all, is because I'm really being more intentional with what I say, because I understand the power in words and the power of the tongue. You understand? And so I want to make sure that I'm giving the power where it needs to be, right? And where it rightfully belongs. And that is with you. That is with you. That is with you. The power has always been yours, but you have to go within. There's a lot that is happening, but we can finish this year out strong. Absolutely. Right? So get in the gym. Get in the gym. Take care of yourself. This is true too. And that's why they mad. But anyway, so get in the gym, take care of yourself, love yourself well, right? Love yourself well, because understand, my baby, before there was a person that was called a doctor in a white coat, there were medicine women. There was you, and you feel it. You feel it. Some of you have felt this call. Some of you know that this is what is in your ancestral DNA, right? There was healers. There were midwives. There were, you know what I mean? There were herbalists, right? There were hoodoo men, hoodoo women, root workers, right? Before there was any of this stuff. And then what happened is colonization came and taught us that our ways of being were primitive. Right? And then once that was in our minds, all right, we began to treat it as such, and then thereby giving our power to heal, right, to external forces and sources. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're seeing so many women get back into intentional cooking, right? Herb crafting, right? That is root work. Root work is getting to the root of the thing. That is root work. You understand? That is root work. That is root work. Listen, I'm sitting here, I'm looking out the window, watching the buzzards. I don't even call them buzzards anymore. I call them they're vultures. And specifically, these are turkey vultures, because I understand there are different types of vultures. And I'm going to say this, because since I've been having this conversation with y'all, the vultures have been swarming. Now, how I receive that, I look at that from the perspective of ancestral knowledge and wisdom, to let me know that the cleanup crew is here to clean this shit up. The cleanup crew is here, right? Because, the thing about vultures is they have a special type of stomach, right? They do, because they eat dead flesh. And so because of that, they have to have a certain type of, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but they have to have a certain type of stomach to do the job that they do. And one of the things that they do is, because they eat flesh, they attract a lot of parasites, right? And so what they do is they spread their, so if you ever see them, because I used to think they were having a seance and I still think that, but whatever. So whenever you see a group of vultures with their wings spread out, or any of them with their wings spread out to the sun, it is because they're opening their wings for the sunlight to kill the parasites. You understand? So I love y'all. And I send you so much sunshine.